Good evening and welcome everybody to our second TechLabs Talks format about logistics with our partners from Picnic and Flaschenpost. Before I get into more detail, I just want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Maren and I have been part of the TechLabs team for about 9 months now. Currently, I am the head of partnerships in the global team, and our team is always looking for new volunteers, so make sure to check out our website. Besides that, we are also responsible for the whole TechLabs Talks format. As some of you might remember from our last TechLabs Talks, the format contains that both speakers will shortly talk about their business and the role of tech in logistics for about 20 to 25 minutes. And after that, we have a short Q&A session prepared for you guys from questions from your side. If you scroll down the side, you could see our chat field where you could type in questions all the time, so feel free to do so. Today, everything should be about the topic of logistics and how data science and AI could help to make processes more effective. For this, I am super happy to welcome Arthur Reinhardt from Picnic.
Hello, thanks for having us.
And also Christopher Messina from the Flaschenpost.
Hi, this is Chris from Flaschenpost. Happy to be here and talk to you.
Picnic and Flaschenpost are looking for people to support their teams, so make sure to check their open job positions or simply write a message with your CV, if you like, to the respective HR contact. You could see the contact below our chat field, okay? So I would say, let's start, everybody. And Arthur, I am super excited to get to know a little bit more of Picnic right now.
Thank you, Maren. Really appreciate the opportunity. And well, good evening to everybody. Thanks, first of all, for joining. I mean, we really appreciate that you take an hour or more even out of your schedule on a Monday night to listen to us. So I hope I can make it worth your while. So what we'll do is I'll tell a bit of a story around Picnic, and then there's Flaschenpost, and mostly importantly, there is Q&A at the end. And like Maren said, please don't hesitate to put all your questions in. I really like the interactive part of these types of stories, so that we can really get into some sort of a discussion and hopefully talk about the things that you find interesting. So let's start with Picnic. So who are we? Well, Picnic is an online grocery service, an e-commerce company that delivers all your groceries free to your doorstep at the lowest price, minute precise. Very simple. We serve hundreds of thousands of customers each week, and we do that in 2 countries, and we employ over 8,000 people. So those are, of course, pretty significant numbers, but we've only been in operation for a little over 5.5 years. And 5.5 years ago, we started with nothing, just a very simple idea. And the idea was, what if you would take the daily business of doing all your groceries, that ancient business model that exists all over the world in more or less the same fashion, and take it to the 21st century and use today's technology to really radically improve the shopping experience. What would happen if you would do that? Well, what I would like to do today is talk you a bit through our growth story and tell you how it happened. And in order to do that, I'm going to share my screen. Good. So when our founders started Picnic, a little over 5.5 years ago, they were thinking about what market to enter into. And they looked at many, many markets. They'd been successful entrepreneurs before, they'd sold their business, and they were thinking about e-commerce and in which market to step into. They looked at many different markets, but the market for groceries caught their attention early on, and I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, if you look at this market for grocery shopping, and there's a few interesting facts that you may want to pick up on. First of all, we spend, as an average consumer, about 20 working days per year just walking through the aisles of a supermarket. And in doing so, we drive almost 1,000 kilometers on average per year in carrying these groceries from the supermarket back to our home. And in that process, we waste over 230 kilograms of food, packaging, etc. So you can say, okay, well, that's a business model that has some disadvantages to it. Can't this be improved? Well, maybe. But there's first some other characteristics of the groceries markets that actually caught our founder's eye and that you may or may not already know, but I'll just share it with you just to get all on the same page. I've taken the groceries market for Germany as a proxy, but actually the logic that I'm talking about here goes for most developed markets, which is this. Well, first of all, let's focus on the middle row here, which is total market value of a number of different consumer markets. Furniture, fashion, electronics, travel. You can look at insurance, you can look at books, you can look at all sorts of consumer markets. And first of all, you see that if we compare the market for groceries with all these, groceries is a multiple in market size. It's huge. The groceries market for Germany alone is the single biggest consumer market in Europe. And if you think about your own wallet, it's not so strange. I mean, after, especially for, say, the more mature adults who have a house and who have a car, they may spend a lot on that. But quickly after, you think about, in terms of discretionary income, how much you spend on buying your groceries daily. It's quite a lot. So that market is huge, almost 200 billion euros of turnover per year. Now, if you look at, on the left-hand side, what is the share of online purchases that gets done in each of these segments? And mostly, and this chart is actually already a few years old, so these numbers actually have gone up since then. And these are in the teens and 20s and sometimes even high 30% of markets that have moved to online sales. However, if you look at the biggest market of all, groceries, then it's tiny. In Germany, it's 4%, and in many of the other mature European markets, in the US, no different. Percentage of online groceries being delivered is actually very low. It's in the single digits. And you may ask why. There's a number of reasons, and I'll get into them in a bit. But if you think about the model for supermarkets, the traditional model, it's quite the same wherever you go. Supermarkets buy their products via warehouses from all sorts of different suppliers. And we've agreed with the customers that, customers just drive back and forth to pick up these groceries, with all the downside that I just mentioned in the beginning. Now, can't this be improved? Yes. And for inspiration, our founders looked at many different business models. They found one that was particularly interesting, which was the old milkman. Now, I know that many of you on this call, perhaps all of you, are too young to ever have seen a real milkman in life, because they don't exist anymore, hardly. But in the good old days, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, the milkman would come to your street, deliver the milk, and come to your streets on a fixed day, every day of the week, or maybe a few days of the week. He would know all his customers. Everybody loved the milkman. There was a high level of trust. He would bring the milk, bring the old bottles back, maybe just sell you a few other products as well. It was just a very friendly and familiar face in the neighborhood. Now, can't we take that milkman model to the 21st century? Of course, using today's technology, and just expanding the range, etc., because the milkman itself had been competed away by the traditional supermarkets. And the answer is yes, actually we can. But a number of conditions need to be met. It needs to be the groceries that get delivered need no delivery fees. So delivery needs to be free. Your prices to be competitive, preferably the lowest, and your waiting time really needs to be minimized. And then you would have a full supermarket in your pocket, and the supply chain would look roughly like this. You cut out the middleman. You cut out the stores. What if you would cut out the stores and use all the savings that you have of not having stores anymore, not having staff that works in stores, not having inventories that sit in stores, not paying the rent, etc., not doing the maintenance on these stores, and all these costs that you save, you would transfer into building an app that is a full range supermarket in your pocket and have a delivery fleet that arrives just on time. So now to TechLabs, this is my little cue about the video that's coming. I want to show you just a short video that explains our business model a bit more graphically, and it looks a bit like this. That's our proposition in a nutshell, right? It's an entire supermarket in your pocket. More than 10,000 SKUs, more than 10,000 products, all in an app that you may or may not have seen before, but that flows seamlessly, and it's a whole supermarket apps that actually works. It has lowest price guarantee. We compare our prices to all other supermarkets in the neighborhood and be as competitive as their most competitive prices. And we have delivery on the minute, precise to your doorstep. A nice little app that shows you really Uber style how our electric vehicle arrives closer and closer, so that to the minute precise, you know when it's arriving in your slot. It's a business model that is a level up more sustainable than the traditional supermarket. Our fleets are 100% electric. Picnic operates the largest electric fleet in all of Europe. And our approach to food waste is radically different than you would see in a normal supermarket, where normally in a supermarket you would see, of course, shelves that are filled, because empty shelves don't sell. Shelves that are filled with products so that the customers buy them, but that also comes with a lot of food waste. Because we don't have these stores, you don't need that kind of stock and that kind of filled shelves, and that radically reduces the amount of waste that we actually produce. With the ability to get returns, return the plastic bags that we deliver and get deposit returns, and by being highly efficient, the level of road traffic that we bring to every city where we operate is reduced drastically. Now, this is quite simple, right? I mean, we just need to be on time. We just need to deliver quality. We just need to have an app that really works, and we should charge no delivery fees. That's quite a basic customer promise. But of course, this is not a promise that we take lightly. It's a promise that we need to keep more than 200,000 times per week. And this is where sort of technology came in, and the challenge of how do we actually deliver this promise, how do we deliver this business model, really came to Picnic. This is the kind of, maybe explains the type of company that Picnic is, because one of the consequences of having to deliver a business model like this was that we needed to redesign our supply chain more or less from the ground up, every segment of the chain that we are in. If I just take a few examples, you see that nice little delivery van on the right, so the hardware. So Picnic's electric vehicle. We found out early on that if you want to be super efficient, then we need a vehicle that doesn't transport air, or at least as little of it, but is filled extremely efficiently with crates that sort of sit in the rest of our supply chain as well. These crates need to be accessible very easily for the driver, not from the back, but from behind. And we need to ensure that this vehicle is filled with all sorts of telemetry so that we can also give safety and other type of tips to the driver while they are en route. And also, the car needs to look really nice, because at the end of the day, this is really an advertising post for us in every city where we operate. But it turned out such a car doesn't really exist in the market. Therefore, we designed it ourselves. If you think about something else, then being on time, and not just within a time window of 2 or 3 hours, is absolutely critical. For your daily groceries, somebody doesn't want to sit around in the house and waiting for 2 hours. They will wait for a half hour, 20 minutes, or maybe less, and that should be acceptable. But in order to do that, our rounds, or delivery rounds, need to be extremely precise, and there was no software on the market that could actually deliver the type of route planning that we were looking for. So we developed the algorithm ourselves. Right now, Picnic operates in the world, and there's an actual competition or a global database that ranks the efficiency of every delivery route in the so-called mathematical problem that's called the traveling salesman problem. Picnic delivers the most efficient milk route planning in the world. Which is something that we're extremely proud of. And you may think, well, okay, you should probably have hired some consultancy company with 20 or 30 consultants that worked on this for a few years in order to deliver it. But in reality, it was one mathematics student intern 5 years ago who actually wrote this algorithm himself. He wrote his thesis about it, got a super high grade, of course. And now he leads a team of mathematicians and physicists and software engineers completely responsible for the planning of Picnic's vehicles in 2 countries. I'm just saying this to illustrate a bit what the type of culture is that you have in Picnic, which is we design almost everything that's crucial to our supply chain ourselves. I could tell the same story about the app. I could tell the same story about our warehouse management system, how we operate our fulfillment centers, etc. And everybody loves the modern milkman. So from the day that we operated or started operation, people really loved seeing these small little vehicles enter into their streets. Our runners, so the drivers of our vehicles, have an extremely good rapport, a good sort of connection with their customers. And this has led, not only in the Netherlands, but in Germany as well, to a really rapid growth of our market share. Huge interest from the day that we started. These are all the downloads on day one of the Picnic app. Well, we actually only deliver in North Rhine-Westphalia, but immediately in Germany, as well as, of course, in the Netherlands, there was very high interest to download the app and start shopping with us. Just a few numbers, and then I'll hand over to Flaschenpost. I think I have still a few minutes, but just a few numbers to give you a sense of how Picnic has grown over time. So in 2015, we started in the city of Amersfoort, a small city or mid-sized city in the Netherlands. And now we are operating in 2 countries with a number of countries beyond the Netherlands and Germany on the roll for us to enter as well. We're in over 125 cities now and operate 9 fulfillment centers and a distribution center. Like I said, from just a few electric vehicles in Amersfoort at the start, we now operate the largest electric fleet in all of Europe. And we employ about 8,000 people. And in 2021 alone, we will be hiring about 1,000 people per month just to keep up with our growth. Most of these people work in our fulfillment centers and are drivers of our vehicles, but also there are great leadership positions and analyst type of roles that work on super complex and interesting problems. And also these teams are being expanded really rapidly. After our pilots in 2015 and entering our first cities, also from an investor's point of view, Picnic really took off with 100 million euros financing round in 2017, an entry in Germany in 2018, and then 250 million of financing in 2019. And this was also the kickstart of what we call our first robotized fulfillment center that we are currently building in Utrecht, which is a fulfillment center where all the groceries for our customers get picked, but not by what we call shoppers, so not like people running through aisles and filling the grocery bags, but mostly by robots that are, again, tailor-made And all of the software and also the tailoring of the hardware is being done in-house. We do that ourselves, also with the idea that because we do it ourselves and it's proprietary, we can keep fine-tuning it every time we build a new robotized fulfillment center. And number 2, 3, and 4 are already on the road to be built as well. And finally, in 2020, a joint international purchasing agreement with Edeka. Edeka is the German supermarket chain. It's an extremely important delivery partner and investor for Picnic, who is now also our purchasing partner, which means that the huge buying power of Edeka can be combined with the innovation of Picnic. And it also means that on the backside, the back office, it gives us very competitive purchasing prices for our products, which of course, in the world of groceries, is very important as well, as the margins are particularly. My last minute I would want to spend on just reinforcing the message that Maren gave at the start, which is which is all about working at Picnic. If you like an environment where you sit in the middle of a huge market, but you're rewriting the rules, an environment where you're being challenged to deal with extremely complicated problems and find new solutions for them. An environment where there's a real premium on being analytical, thinking, and being young and energetic, then Picnic might be a place for you. And this can be typically for our graduate students. There are 2 sort of schools of roles that are really interesting. One is business analysts, where you really work on technical and commercially challenging business projects. It can be all the way from designing our own private label products to completely optimizing the flow of our vehicles, to completely optimizing the operation in our fulfillment centers. But it can also be in operations. Picnic really gives a lot of responsibility to very young people. And you see people of 27, 28, 29 years old, just out of graduate school or just with their masters, are leading teams of sometimes up to 300, 400, 500 people, which is a fantastic leadership development opportunity. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, then I really encourage you to take a look. I think that's all I have time for now. But we have room for questions and answers at the end. So I encourage you, like I said, put all your questions in the chat, and then hopefully at the end we'll have some opportunity for Q&A.
Thank you, Arthur. I have already some questions in mind, but I will wait until Flaschenpost is ready with their presentation. So right now, Christopher, I would say it's your turn. Spotlight on and go.
Yeah, thank you, Maren. Thank you, Arthur, for the very nice introduction. Yeah, my name is Chris. I'm today talking to you from my mobile office, aka my company car, because I'm on the road today. But nevertheless, I'm very happy to be here to discuss with you some issues and topics around technology within a logistics value stream. And I will share just a second. I will share my screen. So I hope you can see this presentation. Hey, Arthur, you had a very, very cool video inside your presentation. Well, I only have a boring, static, old-fashioned presentation, but I hope this is fine with you. Well, let's go. Today's topic or today's talk is about technology, and especially technology within a logistics value stream. And I'm very pleased to give you some insights about a logistics 4.0 system. We always say logistics is our DNA. And the major question today is, what is the magic behind it? And what are the basic requirements for a logistic 4.0 system and business model, especially in the area of last mile delivery services? Well, I will start with a very, very brief introduction of Flaschenpost. Well, Flaschenpost SE is Germany's leading online supermarket with an instant delivery service for beverages, food, and non-food products. Flaschenpost has been founded in 2016, And today we have more than 12,000 employees with more than 10 million orders per year. We have now launched our 35th hub in Germany. We have around about 1,600 delivery vehicles and in addition 100 huge trucks on the road, and we deliver more than 250 cities today. And you see three pictures here, which describes very briefly what is the Flaschenpost service. Well, you see on the left side we have an online supermarket. Surely we have an app and a website and so on and so on. A huge supermarket, a product range inside the app. We deliver all the products within 120 minutes, and surely we manage the deposit return for our customers. This is basically what Flaschenpost is doing. So, and now let's start with talking about technology. As you see here, logistics 4.0 is tech and excellence, especially a combination of technology and excellence. And from our perspective, modern logistics system fulfills three major requirements that are mandatory for a innovative logistics system. And these are first point, scalability. Second point, speed. And third point, technology. I will give you some more information on the following slides. But on the right hand, you see very high level three major technology and IT elements that are supporting these three major requirements. You have on the left side a proprietary ERP and IT stack. That means we have Flaschenpost is running an all-in-one ERP system, 100% developed in-house and specifically tailored for our specific logistics processes. We have around about 100 IT experts and coders who are working permanently on our proprietary ERP and VMS and MRP system. We are running a routing algorithm for sure for our delivery service. We have a best-in-class routing algorithm that is used worldwide for optimizing last mile delivery services, especially at Flaschenpost. So we have redesigned this process several times, and we are now running a really highly efficient system that is supporting our daily business permanently. On the second bar, you see our in-house data science and BI capabilities. So BI and data science is one of the core elements inside our ERP environment. Why? Because we're using data science and BI models to create a real-time forecast environment. So we have millions and millions of data points that are analyzed permanently to provide a real-time forecast and demand planning environment for our operations team, for our supply chain team, for all the demand planners who are using this forecast to transform it into a very precisely resource planning for people, for warehouse people, for drivers, and so on and so on. So it's really a crucial element for our business success. And surely, last but not least, all the interactions through the entire value chain are operated with in-house developed apps. So we have a driver app for all our drivers on the roads. We have warehouse apps for all our warehouse people. We have truck apps. We have apps for everybody who is working within the Flaschenpost environment to make all the processes very easy, very short, and very reproducible. And as you see, the IT stack supports the complete vertical integration of our value chain. And this is one of the most important points that you should remember when you talk about the combination of logistics and technology. So, and now I would like to tell you a few points for our three major requirements. So first of all, logistics is scalability. So what is scalability? So scalability, if you split it, you see scale and ability. And this is, as it says, so the ability to scale a process, including the required infrastructure and all the resources on your fingertip. What does it mean? So I would like to give you an example. So our proven scalability, our growth story. Flaschenpost was founded in 2016 with the first hub in Münster. So we had a hub, we tested all the software, all the processes, the delivery. It was pretty challenging. As you see, in the second year, we only had 2 hubs. So we opened the second hub 1 year after the first hub has launched, so in Cologne. So to prove the concept in a different city, so in the second city. And afterwards, in 2018, we started a professional expansion process by opening 9 hubs in 1 year. It was really amazing in 2018. But then in 2019, we opened 19 hubs. So more than 1 hub a month, including all the processes, all the infrastructures, all the people. So we hired more than 2,000 people a month to make this infrastructure operational. And now 2020 or 2021, so we have more than 30 hubs across Germany. We have our national rollout accomplished, so we are delivering in more than 250 cities. We have 12,000 employees around Germany. And this is what we mean when we talk about scalability. So we are now able to open a new hub within 4 weeks by running a standardized process with all the experience of our expansion team. And this is what we call scalability, because each hub from day one provides the same operational excellence as the most mature hub we have. So, and this is what we mean when we talk about scalability. So the second point, logistics surely is speed. Yeah? Logistics 4.0 is a real customer-centric system, and it fulfills all the needs of ad hoc customer demands. So what does it mean? It's pretty simple. So I think everybody has placed one order at Amazon in his life. So, and if you order a product, you are not willing to wait a long time for the product. So in today's world, you would like to have all the stuff immediately. So, and this is how we have proved customer journey. So on the upper side, you see the customer experience, so all the interactions with the customer. And on the lower side, on the bottom side, you see the fulfillment view. So everything, so the interaction between the customer and our operational infrastructure. And you see the first point is surely you open the app, you create your product range, you choose your product, and you click purchase. So what happens then? I think between 7 and 10 minutes later, all the products have been picked within our warehouse. And as you see, between point 3 and point 4, within the first 15 minutes after placing the order is all permanently in the back end. So it's a real-time trip planning system in use. And after 15 minutes, all the products are in the car and are on the way to you. You see on the upper side now, the ETA confirmation and the order tracking. Surely you can see within the app a real-time map. You can follow the driver on his road and so on and so on. So the traceability is here fully integrated. And within 120 minutes, you get the stuff to your door. We have a service level of more than 98%, which shows that we have a very, very fast logistic delivery system, and also supported by a high level of scalability, because 98% of all the orders are delivered within the first 120 minutes, which is super fast. So, and now the last point, Logistics 4.0, is surely technology. So today's talk is about technology. So now let's see how technology supports all these processes. So Logistics 4.0 is lean. It is a symbiosis of man and machine. This is what I meant with tech and excellence. And it transforms all the transactional processes, the old-fashioned processes, into process flow operations. That means as a employee or as a manager within our headquarters, you are not managing single processes. You are managing a process flow by changing parameters that are managing a complete value stream. And this is how it works at Flaschenpost. We have a proven technology stack, and what you see here is our vertical integration level. And what we say that the vertical integration drives our disruptions and surely the daring innovations, because we are able to control the complete value chain from the inbound logistics to the delivery. You see our trucks. So our routing algorithm supports all the purchasing logistics, the forwarding logistics, our central warehouses. We have 2 central warehouses in place, and we controlling the complete distribution of the goods to all of our hubs, and surely the routing algorithm and order execution that is managing the delivery process. Everything is made in-house, and you see that this vertical integration combined with the technology stack is the symbiosis you need if you talk about a fully integrated value chain. You see here the value chain from the forecasting to the delivery. You see some numbers of our businesses, but it's pretty old. But it's I think it's okay to give you a brief a summary and overview of the value stream size. So we have, you see on the left side, our forecasting and procurement technology that is backboned by our BI system. So the complete forecast simulation, demand management is running on the left side. We have more than 90% forecasting accuracy that is really crucial to run our business profitably. Yeah, and then you see the inbound logistics, more than 150,000 units each day. We move across Germany to support our hubs with the required products. It's also supported by our fleet management and route optimization software. You see the warehousing part. We have more than 1,500 SKUs per hub. In some hubs, we have more than 5,000 SKUs and over 2 million units on stock to support the highest level of material availability. We have more than 98% availability around Germany. This is pretty high for a e-commerce and supermarket business. On the bottom, you see that we have an inventory management and a product flow system that supports this value step. Quite on the right side, you have the order processing and execution process, which is pretty big. Actually, see that we have more than 25,000 units orders per day, but I think today we have more than 40,000 orders a day. So our growth rate is pretty strong. You see that we have a 15-minute a 15 minutes gap from order placement to delivery start. This is, as you see on the lower side, this is completely supported by a workforce management system. We have a shift planning system, a shift scheduling system, and everything that is required to utilize our warehouses on that with the highest level of efficiency. And last but not least, the delivery itself that is supported by all the apps and all the routing stuff I explained you a few slides before. And you see we bring more than 150K units to our hubs each day, and surely we deliver the same size to our customer each day with a delivery service level of more than 98% at the moment. And what is the magic? What is the quintessence? So the logistics, what we say provides, or logistics 4.0 especially, provides the highest level of customer delight and trust because it is real. So we have no room to fake anything, because if you place the order, it needs to be delivered within 120 minutes. No discussion about it. And this is what we when we talk about trust, this is what we mean when we talk about it. Well, thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to your questions within our Q&A session. I'm looking forward to give you some answers and to talk with Arthur and you guys about technology. Thank you very much.
Maren, I think you're muted.
So, yeah, like it's the usual problem, you know, like so many online calls. It's normal, I would say. So as I promised half an hour ago, I have one important question from my side. So this question is important for both of you. During the Corona situation, what challenges are you facing at your company within the whole logistics process with deliveries? Maybe Arthur, you could start with explaining.
Yes, yeah. So the impact of Corona, well, in the world, but for our business, cannot be overstated. What we say in Picnic, and I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this as well. We essentially saw, in terms of market growth, we saw 5 years of market growth projected happen in essentially 5 weeks. I mean, the market really took off because suddenly there was already a need for our service. The need that we now saw just exploded. So the first thing that happened was that in terms of capacity, we simply could not serve all the demands that was out there, not by far. So our wait list really increased. Our models, our forecasting models, and sort of the technology backbone that helps us plan our deliveries needed to learn a lot in a very short time. I mean, I can tell you, we had data at our fingertips that we never saw before. So of course, we saw our capacity grow very quickly. We needed to ramp it up as the demand for our services just went up. But it was also, in the smaller things that Corona had a huge impact, because not only do we need to calculate exactly when we need to ship what where in order to arrive on time, but also our crates started to look completely differently, because suddenly everybody started ordering toilet paper like never before. That has a huge impact on sort of the division of the products in your crate, and in our mathematical models need to sort of recalibrate how they then. It was just quieter on the road, right? So suddenly our planning models needed to again rethink the way that we scheduled, because there was less traffic, so we could arrive more on time. People started to order on Friday. They didn't do that as much. So the impacts were huge, but overall, you could say that this industry has taken a lift off like unseen. And our expectation is that this has just taken the size of online groceries to the next level, also when Corona is less dominating our daily lives.
Yeah, thank you, Arthur. I'm fully in alignment with you. I think the biggest challenge was actually the first lockdown and the unbelievable uplift we saw at the market. So within 1 or 2 weeks, we had an uplift of around about 400%, which was pretty hard to calculate. And the major challenge was surely the operational and so keeping the service level in this extreme situation. So I'm very hard in alignment, Arthur.
Okay, so I don't want to be unfair, so I read out the questions from you guys. And there is one question about you determine the upcoming cities to expand to. So it is asked, how are upcoming expansion priorities decided on, and how do you leverage data in this process? Maybe Christopher, you can give us a little insight to that first.
So our expansion process is a pretty special process. So our expansion team is using a lot of data to analyze all the regional expansion potentials in Germany. And if we take one location, then we have a very specific analysis to decide or to make a decision if this location will be a profitable location or not. Because one thing is crystal clear: if you run a very huge instant delivery logistic infrastructure, you need the critical mass to operate this system with a high utilization. And to realize a high utilization, you need a very high a certain region. So this is, by the way, the reason why a Flaschenpost today is working in huge cities and cities around huge cities, and not a very long way outside a huge city.
Yeah, if you like, I can build a bit of what Christoph is saying, because about the density of population. In our case, also the share of families in a certain area. I mean, we have a really a mass market proposition, but within all our customers that we have, and we love all of them, but families are really sort of the core. That is the part where they just respond really well to our proposition. So high share of families also makes an area more attractive, but it's also the things that you think less about. For example, in our case, if an area is very hilly, then that may become an issue for our electric vehicles. If there are, and this is on a broader scale, of course, when you enter a country, we need to think about things like temperature, because our batteries are impacted by, if it's too cold in a certain country, then that is a consideration as well as safety, etc. So, to this question, this is where there's a difference between Picnic and Flaschenpost, because Flaschenpost has a 2-hour delivery window, and of course, Picnic is a full range supermarket with like 10,000 products in the supermarket, so that gets planned in advance the day before. And so, what Picnic does is we, after the cutoff at 10 o'clock at night, during the night, our algorithms run on multiple cycles, on multiple heuristics, to get the most efficient milk round in, and that one is frozen for the next day to be planned.
Okay, thank you. So there's one specific question.
And maybe it's Mara, there's one thing that may interest your audience as well, is that just in terms of how, of course, this is a fantastic algorithm and it's essential for our business, and I think the same goes for Flaschenpost. It's really, being on time is so crucial for our success. But you need to think about all the things that you actually need to know to come on time, right? Because this is not just your regular app that takes a few averages and then you're there. I mean, this is seconds work. That we know exactly when a runner gets out of his electric vehicle, how long it takes for him to get 1 crate or 2 crates or 3 crates out of the vehicle.
Just to underline Arthur's statement is, I'm totally in agreement. So the route planning algorithm is crucial for our logistics systems, and it's the most valuable intellectual property of a logistics 4.0 provider. Surely, no discussion about it.
Yeah. This is also a quick advertisement from my side here. This is also why we offer those data science program here at TechLabs. So it helps to understand like the whole method, like what's behind it, like why is it important, and yeah. So as I started, there's one specific question for Picnic. Arthur, could you explain how you manage the waiting lists and add new customers while meeting the existing demand?
Yeah, really good question. Let me tell you a bit about. So Picnic has a waiting list of a significant amount of customers. I mean, you're really talking about sort of 130, 140,000 customers on the waiting list, waiting to use our service. I don't know of many other companies or businesses, full stop, that have a waiting list of that many customers just waiting to do business with you. So from an investor point of view, this may be nice, but from a customer point of view, we really don't like it. To be honest, this started as something that we really didn't foresee, because when we started Picnic, then in the Netherlands, the overnight, thousands of people started ordering, and we didn't have the kind of capacity to service them, especially not if you want to come on time and give complete grocery packages. Right. So something needed to be thought of, and overnight the wait list was created. Now, this wait list is also a way for us to start interacting with customers. We give them gifts and presents to keep them, motivated to shop with us once they're admitted. And from a supply chain point of view, of course, this is a very attractive feature because it allows us to really, on a very detailed level, control our demand. Because then we only allow customers onto our business if the capacity is really ready for it. And that capacity depends on all sorts of things, our infrastructure, the amount of people working in our fulfillment centers, etc. So it's a supply chain sort of mechanism that is that's very important to us. We use the gifts to ensure that as many customers as we hope can convert. But truth be told, if I would have a free drop, then I would open, a number of fulfillment centers and tens of hubs tomorrow to service all these customers with our proposition. But the reality is, what we want to do, because getting on time and offering our products at the highest quality is so important to us, we would rather have customers wait just a little bit until we're sure that we are ready, that we can service them in the right way. And that then leads to some waiting time. The interesting thing, by the way, is that it actually turns out that letting customers wait just a few weeks increases the chance of conversion to a first order versus when customers get admitted to the app right away. So there's also that bit of anticipation, giving welcoming gifts, etc. We study that field really sort of in depth. That's also, if you work in our commercial, in our marketing area, then working on sort of complex marketing problems like that, and really fine-tuning that offer is the type of things that you get to work on as an analyst as well.
It's always the sentence like that you're working on as an analyst. So guys, make sure below our chat fields there's always some contact for both companies. So there is one question for Christopher. It is asked, which tools are you using for your BI to enable real-time demand and resource planning?
Yeah, well, surely we have a data warehouse and several clouds which are used to store all the data. And as a front-end system, we're using Power BI to create all the dashboards and reports, and the logics and the algorithms are programmed in a different systems that are implemented then to Power BI.
Okay, thank you. There is another question. It says, #company culture. What were the key issues for ensuring a cultural fit at the different locations in the process of the super fast expansion, and how did you manage them? It's a long question, I know, but maybe Arthur, you could start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe let me start by saying that I think it's a fantastic question and one that is so important. I would argue that in our case, and Christopher can say how Flaschenpost sees this, but when you talk about scaling up, when you talk about fast growth, and when you talk about enabling that while your proposition really stays attractive to your customers, then keeping a company culture that is really true to what you started with and keeping the quality of your hires really at the top level is perhaps the biggest challenge to growth. We see that as Picnic for sure. I think one of the ways that we dealt with that is that our founders and leadership in Picnic has always been clear that it is our mission, our ambition, our vision, whatever you want to call it, to be the best milkman on the planet. Not the biggest, the best. And we will grow as fast as our talent inflow will allow. That means that we will never compromise on the quality of the people that work for us just to enable short-term growth. Right? At the end of the day, we're really looking for a needle in a haystack, for people that have a very sort of specific blend of being very analytical, that are prone to solve complex problems, that have the creativity sort of to contribute to our proposition, and that have a bit of this mindset that you're okay to go against the stream. Yeah? No, low on hierarchy, low on formality, low on big job titles. Those are not the kind of things that you will find in Picnic. But our culture is one where analysis and intelligence is important, where you have the guts to try something new, and where you really want to get your hands dirty. And all of that in an extremely collaborative environment. If that's the kind of space that you like, then that is the type of culture that we are trying to that we're trying to cultivate. And that we have agreed amongst ourselves that we'll do that as fast as we can. But if we cannot see the cultural fit with the people that we're looking for, then we'd rather grow a bit slower to make sure that we hold on to that culture. And I think so far it's been going quite okay.
Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with Asa again. But nevertheless, managing the complexity, the organizational complexity in a nationwide, rapid expanding company is in fact one of the major challenges. So Flaschenpost is working with a very huge matrix organization that is working pretty good. Just to give you an example, so I'm the accountable guy for all the processes around logistics, warehousing, and provision of the material. And in the headquarter, I'm responsible on the functional area and processual area for these kinds of processes. But on the horizontal line, I'm also responsible for all the people on the shop floor who are working with who are using the processes that have been developed in the headquarter. So in this kind of matrix organization is working pretty good, but surely each hub is managed by an independent leading team, management team, and this matrix, the management, so the vertical management, the independent vertical management on site, combined with the horizontal processual management from the HQ. This combination is pretty so it supports our rapid growth. So it supported our rapid growth pretty well.
Thank you. So I am super thankful that you are so open to every question. I just want to say that in between, it's not like I saw that multiple times that questions were not answered exactly, and I'm super happy that you're doing this. So our two last questions here. how do you ensure that your processes are not interrupted? This is for both of you. Maybe
interrupted
Christopher?
by what?
Like interrupted by like technical issues or yeah, any kind of interruption that could be possible. This is not defined here.
Yeah, surely. I think each technology provider needs needs to manage technical issues, as we saw a few minutes ago when we had some broken connections here. So this is typical for a tech provider, and we have also managed these kinds of challenges. So we have a huge IT team, and surely we have an emergency and firefighting IT team, which is working 24/7. And if everything is interrupting a process, we have an automated emergency and alerting system, and it takes round about 10 minutes, 15 minutes until this problem is fixed. So this is pretty easy. We take capacity and resources and make them responsible.
Yeah, and maybe it's, of course, it's a very broad question, yeah? But one thing that I would say about it is, which is my personal experience at Picnic as well. I mean, we operate a full supermarket. We are in touch with hundreds of thousands of customers, which means that we are in the middle of society. And that means that everything that happens in society, you'll be amazed at what sort of hits us as a company that we then need to respond to and sometimes firefight. You know, if there's bad weather in Spain for a few weeks, our complete fresh supply chain from Spain to the Netherlands gets totally messed up, and we have huge sort of recovery issues around to make sure that, you know, our strawberries, our cucumbers, and all the fresh fruits and vegetables that come from Spain are still delivered to our customers. And we need to sort of then reroute them, talk to alternative suppliers, and do that all within a matter of days. Then you have firefighting teams working that issue, high speed, very intense, and you know that can take a few days. And then suddenly, 2 weeks ago, you know, it's out of nowhere, or 3 weeks ago, it started to snow, and temperatures dropped, and etc. And again, the logistical challenges were huge. Our supply chains, and of course, you know, everybody recognized this. Our supply chains were hit very hard, and at that point, it's groups of people coming together and very quickly understanding the technology, understanding what the customer needs, just firefighting this, crisis managing this. And you'll be amazed at the speed with which then, you know, if a talented team comes together, the speed with which you can then resolve that, communicate clearly to your customers, look at the right KPIs, come up with creative solutions, and before you know it, you know, your fleet is up and running again, and the customers are getting delivered. But sometimes that means working over hours and working weekends, and you know, and that's part of this this game as well.
Perfectly explained, Arthur.
Yeah, I agree.
I see that you recognize
it. Like in 2020 and 2021, we faced a lot of challenges, Corona and the weather. It's impressive, like more that I experienced in my 22 years. So there's one last question from my side, if that is okay for you. Like we are always talking about tech, about education, like learning technological skills. Why do you say everybody needs to have at least some technological skills? Because both of you are not data scientists by education, but how could you benefit from like learning a few technological skills? Like Christopher, we talked about that yesterday. Also, maybe you could start by answering that last question.
Well, so yeah, actually, I'm an engineer. So a very traditional. So I've studied a very traditional area, but when I joined Flaschenpost, I got in touch with a pretty deep digital DNA. So we have a lot of digital natives in-house who are grew up with digital solutions. So, and from my perspective, so I grew into this a digital world, and it was very amazing for me to combine these two worlds. So maybe I'm a lucky guy because I've learned a lot in my so my experience is now around 15 years. So I've learned a lot about production and manufacturing businesses and consulting agencies, and now as well I've learned a lot about digital data driven companies. And from my point of view, it was one of the most amazing experiences for me to get this deep dive into a digital driven company, and all the ideas that you have if you are able to combine the digital world and the analog business. This is amazing for everybody, and I think everybody needs to try to get some more experience in digital businesses. It's only valuable.
I think that's a great answer, Christopher. And maybe my addition to this would be, if I talk from a personal perspective. So I studied theoretical physics. So I graduated in quantum mechanics and Bose-Einstein condensation, and then I went on to working commercial roles in the energy business for more than 20 years. So I never did anything concretely with my background as a theoretical physicist. However, I did. For me, it's having a technical background, whether it's physics or mathematics or engineering, or having a technical background, fuels your curiosity. It brings a certain mindset to problem solving and analytics that can serve you well in just about any type of discipline. I may not know the details of my theoretical physics background anymore, but I feel comfortable in an environment where the problems are complex and where you're challenged to make things simple. Not oversimplify, but really get to the core, which is really what physics is about, to get to the essence of a problem. Well, that kind of curiosity we see in people with technical backgrounds. So we don't hire people for their content expertise. We hire them for their mindset and intelligence and their ability to make complicated things just simple enough so that you really get to the essence. So it's really a mindset and attitude type of thing, more than coming in as a functional expert, because we will teach you that once you're in.
Yeah, great last words. I'm happy to hear that. So, well, I would say this was the last question for today. One more time, everybody, this video is a live stream, but also you could see it whenever you want. Like, we saved everything. Just go to the website and you can look at the video over and over again if you have a free Friday evening. And so now I would say huge thank you to both of you guys for taking your time here at the TechLabs Talks format. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Maren, Maren,
yeah.
Just before round off, I apologize. I wanted to put a 15-second plug in for all the people listening, because this is the last week that you can still sign up for Picnic's Fast Track to Leadership Supply Chain Traineeship, which is a fantastic thing if you're interested in leadership roles in supply chain. Be sure to check it out on our site. I didn't want to miss that plug. You have until this coming Friday to sign up. So if you're interested, go ahead and check it out.
Of course, no problem. Christopher, some last words also from your side?
Thank you for the last words, Asa. Should I go to the picnic page or no? No. Thank you very much. I think it was a very good, very nice quorum. Thank you for all the questions. Arthur, thank you for the perfect words regarding hiring. Same as Flaschenpost, we do not hire for functional expertise. We hire for ambition, and we will train all the skills. This is in fact a chance for everybody here. And yeah, I'm pleased to talk to you again in the next TechLabs, for example. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us directly. And this was all from my side here.